All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Premiere Pro Daily Creative Challenge Day 2. So nice to see all of you. My name is Jason Levine, Principal Worldwide Evangelist for Adobe Creative Cloud. And wow, yesterday was our first day for the Premiere Pro Daily Creative Challenge, and it was nothing short of actually pretty amazing. We almost tripled the amount of people in the Discord, so thank you to all of you who signed up immediately and got involved in the challenge. This is something new for the video side of our business. You've seen the incredible daily creative challenges with Illustrator, which has kind of been revamped and really taking off, Photoshop and XD. Well, now we've got Premiere into the fold as well. So I want to thank everyone for their submissions. And remember that we've got 4 more days of this to, refine some skills, have some fun, and then create and collaborate with a totally new community with our new Premiere Pro Discord. So as always, want to mention that, of course, we're coming to you live on Adobe Live, as well as on the Creative Cloud Facebook page and Twitter Periscope. Now, if you want to follow what's happening, you want to follow the conversation, you want to get involved in the challenge, the chat is happening at behance.net/Adobe Live. So that's where you want to be. That's where I'm going to be answering questions as we're going live. We've got a couple of mods on the YouTube side and on the Facebook side, but all the stuff is really happening at behance.net/Adobe Live. Okay, so let's talk about getting into the challenge. If you missed kind of yesterday and maybe you're starting today. So I'm going to just switch my screen over here real quickly. After a couple of quick shout outs, of course. Hello, Derajay. Hello, Karima. Valdair, Chad, Amerkar, Chris, how are you doing? William Agnew, Robert. All right, Jeff, Gift Kuto, Munir. So nice to see you. Carrie. All right, great. How are you doing there? Paloma, Cecilia, F. Smittick, who's ready for day 2? Yes. Jenna Bickford, Steve Kosabu, my dear friend from New Zealand. Great to see you as always. Jordan Crawford, Jennifer Lottie, and so many others. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so let me just switch my screen over real quickly here and talk about getting involved in today's challenge. So you're going to go to behance.net/challenge/premiere. And this is where you will enter the daily creative challenge page for Premiere. All right. And you'll see here, you'll have a button to take the challenge. When you do that, of course, each day you're going to receive a new challenge. Today's challenge is creating impact. And we're going to focus on leveraging 2 specific features in Premiere Pro, time remapping and warp stabilization for fixing handheld or shaky footage. You're then going to want to join the community chat. And this is key. Now, I talked about this yesterday, and I can't emphasize this enough. This is so awesome because this is basically, what am I doing? This is opening up for you a whole new network of peers doing the same kind of work. So if you want to get involved in the Discord, again, this is where you can ask questions. This is where you're ultimately going to submit whatever you're working on today or the stuff that you're still finishing from yesterday or all throughout the week. You're going to submit it to the Premiere Pro Discord here. Again, the community is growing so quickly over there. It was really, really kind of amazing and quite heartwarming to see so many people join up on the Discord and already starting conversations. So get involved in the Discord. You can ask us questions there anytime. We've got lots of Adobe people in there answering questions aside from myself. This is a great way to, again, connect in this new work from home remote world that we're in and find other like people who are doing the same kind of stuff and get inspired by the things that your very peers are doing. So you're going to join the community chat. You're going to watch this live show. You can ask questions live as well. And then, of course, you're going to share and get feedback to that Discord. And you can share this video in the Discord, whether you embed it from YouTube or Vimeo or Twitter. Now, some people yesterday had a couple of issues that were new to Discord. They were trying to upload the video directly. And you can do that, but there's an 8 megabyte limitation for uploading video to Discord, or probably files in general. So getting, 10, 15, 20 seconds of HD, 1080p, which all of this footage is, to 8 megs can be a little challenging unless you're going to really drop the quality down. So I would highly recommend, throwing a link in there embedded from something like, again, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Or you can even drop a Dropbox link in there or a Creative Cloud storage link if you so desire. Okay? All right. So again, today you're going to unlock the challenge. It is Create Impact. And when you join the Discord, by the way, here it is. Again, we've had so many amazing submissions already. You can kind of get an idea here. Look at all these. I was so pleased and shocked and honored that so many people got into this. Even pros, because the level of creativity by taking just a couple of clips that I shot on a Safari and seeing what people did with them, I mean, it was so awesome. It inspired me. It will inspire you. Again, you've got lots of different categories here. We have challenge, asking questions, just random stuff, introductions. We're going to have some tips and tricks as we begin to build up the Discord here. So this is another place to really connect directly with us in real time. All right. Can't emphasize that enough. So cool. So awesome to get involved with that. Okay. So without further ado, and if we've got time at the very end, I'll show off at least one or two from yesterday that really kind of spoke to me. Again, this is just it's a way to get you involved, to get you inspired, and to get you kind of using some new products if you're not using Premiere Pro all the time. By the way, it's also worth pointing out that if you go to your Creative Cloud desktop, this, of course, is where you can download Premiere Pro and all the applications. And it's also worth pointing out, this was announced 2 weeks ago, that we also have now, everybody has access to the digital video and audio betas. So beta versions of, in-progress versions of all of the digital video and audio applications you can now access here. If you want to learn more about that, there's information here on the site. You don't have to do it. They can coexist side by side, by the way. If you kind of want to see, stuff that we're working on as it's in progress, and you can submit feedback and things like that there too. Okay. All right. So just a couple of quick things. Let me just check back over at our chats here, see if there's anything else. All right. Emra Carr, some of those submissions were really pro. Yes, indeed. Derek Laurie, how you doing? Great to see you. All right. Arya Wagner. Hey, not too late at all. Just in time. Sean, great energy. Thank you so much. All right, so much good inspiration in there. Premiere Pro Daily Challenges, says Jason Rose. Yes, the community demanded it. We've brought it to you. This is not fake excitement. This is genuine excitement. And if you watch me before, you know, I don't say things I don't mean. It's so cool to see so many people sharing ideas and getting inspired by this stuff and augmenting it with your own creations too. There was tons of stuff yesterday that had audio and color grading, all these things that we didn't touch upon. So remember, I'm going to show you a couple of things in here. How you submit the challenge with this footage is entirely up to you. So with that, when you download that second challenge, you're going to be able to import the footage. And just real quickly, we're not going to redo the entire overview of yesterday. But if you're inside of the project panel here, easiest way is simply to double click in the gray space. You'll navigate to your folder wherever you downloaded that content. I have mine in a folder here, as you can see, called Day 2, Tuesday, April 28th. I'm just going to select all of those clips and click import. It's that simple. And when you do that, it's going to bring in all that footage. Now, I have it currently viewed in what I showed you yesterday, which is our icon view. Again, this just allows you to see all of the footage at a glance. And you can see yesterday we were doing animals on Safari. Today I went synths, records, bicycles, spokes, and Alaskan waters. Just a hodgepodge of footage for you to create something interesting, okay? And again, when you're inside the icon view, as you hover over your clips, you can scrub them to see the content that's inside them. This is also where you can use the I and O keys on the keyboard to set in and out points, okay? All right, just kind of showing you an overview of this footage here. Really kind of neat stuff. A lot of these clips of the synths were stuff that I shot for a mini documentary about synthesis circa 1981. Some of you will remember I've shown some of that in the process of some of that here on stream in the past. It's still in the cutting room. It may never see the light of day, as all good ones. So, all right, first thing we're going to talk about, warp stabilization. Quite simply, it's a way for you to stabilize or smooth out shaky handheld footage. And all of us who shoot on phones or even with, smaller handheld cameras, if you're not using sticks or some kind of device to keep you stable, invariably you're going to have some human hand shake. It's just the way that it is. So case in point, here's a clip of my Moog Rogue synthesizer here where I'm doing a little bit of a rack focus down the front of it. And if you take a look here, you can very clearly see that while it looks okay, and I'm doing this nice little, I'm doing this nice little focus pull. Sorry, skipped ahead there. It's very handheld, right? I mean, no mistaking that this was not on a tripod. This was done, me holding the camera. It's not super shaky. Not like I had too much caffeine that morning, but it's shaky enough. Okay, here's how we fix that. It's real simple. And again, you can use this in any way that you like on these clips, including some of the clips from yesterday if you want to reintegrate some of those. We're going to go up to the Effects menu. Worth pointing out again that I'm in a modified version of the editing workspace. You can go there by going to Window, Workspaces, editing. You can also customize all of these panels just like all of the other Adobe apps. With the clip selected or highlighted, you can tell that because it has this white frame around it, I'm simply going to double click the warp stabilizer, or you can click and drag it over top of the clip. I'll double click here and you'll see that it's going to begin its analysis. Let's click over to the Effects Controls tab, where here is now where you can see that it's actually processing all those frames, and it's doing it very quickly. It is now stabilizing and it's done. Okay? Now, if we play this back, take a look. We've got some very smooth, almost looks like it was on a dolly kind of motion here, right? Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Makes that rack focus so much more impactful and powerful. And your whole brain isn't going, oh God, stabilize, dude. Here's the before. I mean, already it's just like bouncing up and down. All right, here's the after. Smooth as silk. Okay, now you have lots of different options here to modify what it's doing, because by nature of warp stabilization, sometimes you kind of can get these warped edges and things depending upon the movement. Now, we don't have enough time to cover all the aspects of what this does, but there's three important things I want to point out. Well, first of all, one of the things that it's doing when it's fixing all of that shaky motion is that it has to scale things up typically a little bit. In this case, it only had to do about a scale of 101.9%, so just about 2% more than the original. But if you go into this menu here, the framing menu, you'll see that the default setting is stabilize, crop, and auto scale. Now, if we just stabilized only, what you're going to see is you're going to see these black bars around the edges of the footage because it's showing you what it had to do to stabilize and bring all of that movement sort of into the center, unencumbered and unhindered by your physical movement, right? So you're seeing those edges, right? That's without cropping it and rezooming it. So you have stabilize only, stabilize with crop, stabilize, crop, and auto scale. That's the default. It'll just bring everything into view so you don't see any of the letterboxing or pillar boxing, and that does exactly what you want to do. Now, you've got also two different types of resultant stabilization. Smoothing motion, right, to kind of smooth out those rough handheld edges, or no motion whatsoever. And then you have different methods for how you want to smooth it out. Now again, subspace warp is our default. That is the nature of the warp stabilizer. But you can also control things like position, scale, rotation, or perspective. So let's go to this next clip here. All right, this is a little shot of my turntable playing some Verve record that came out in the early 70s about the modern 20s. I think this one even has some audio on it. All right, so let's take a quick look at this. All right, so again, very handheld. And you can also see that I'm pushing forward as it's playing back, right? So we kind of have a combination of things happening here, and I want to fix that. Now, when I originally did the warp stabilization by smoothing that motion, I was getting some of those weird, it was really stretching out the tone arm. It was looking very bizarre. So for this particular one, I've chosen no motion and perspective instead of the warp. Let's go ahead and turn that on. You'll see that it's scaled up a little bit, all right? And now when I play this back, what no motion is doing is it's looking at that foreground sharp element, in this case, our cartridge here, our cartridge and stylus, and it's locking that down, right? And just eliminating all motion. Now you're seeing some of the bounce of the vinyl, and you're seeing a little bit of slight warping movement in the cartridge there because it was moving, right? As you know, if you've ever watched a stylus and a cartridge on vinyl, there's some movement, there's bounce, there's give, there's some side tilt or shift depending upon how you have things balanced. So, you know, someone might say, it's too much movement. Well, again, here's the before. All right, and here's the after. And you can see it's just totally locked down. Now, if I change that to smooth motion, by the way, you can do that and it'll instantaneously restabilize. You're seeing how it's trying to kind of smooth out that push that I'm doing, but for my eye, it's making that shore cartridge, you're actually seeing it almost expand and get a little bit weird. It's not bad. And if this were an insert shot, I probably wouldn't think about it. But I'm just seeing some weird lateral movement there that I didn't love. So for this particular one, no motion just kind of works for me. And it looks like it's locked off. It looks like this was on a tripod. All right. And you're paying attention to that. You're trying to read the tag. Oh, it's Oscar Peterson. So, just super cool. And again, can really change the way you view your handheld footage very, very quickly. What's up, Terry White? Okay, Arya Wagner, how are you switching between play and reverse? It looks like you used a hotkey. Yeah, so I don't use a lot of shortcut keys. JKL on your keyboard will shuttle. And by the way, this works in that hover scrub preview mode as well. So L to go forward, K to stop or pause, and J to go backwards. So L to go forward, K to stop, pause, J to go backwards. L, J, L, J. And then I can enable or disable the effect in real time. And that's called our uninterrupted playback. This is something we introduced in Premiere probably CC a couple years ago. I don't know. Asa Featherstone, how do you know when to use the perspective method? You just have to try out the different options. So again, if you're getting very strange, warpy looks to things, okay, I just kind of reconfigured this one. If stuff is just looking kind of stretched out or bizarre, like right now I'm using the default subspace warp and smooth motion. Do you see how it's kind of stretching and elongating the cartridge here? And I just didn't like the look of it. So I literally played around. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's not the position that we're trying to really stabilize. So first of all, I eliminated motion, but then it was still kind of weird. It's the perspective. I want to maintain, because I'm doing this weird push, right? It's almost like a strange parallax perspective for this kind of shot at this particular focal angle, focal length, just kind of worked. There's a more scientific answer I could give you, but ultimately you just have to play around and try and see what's going to work best. All right. Felix, super handy. Steve, sweet. Nice. Bernadette, nice. Okay, sweet. All right. So kind of just gives you a quick overview of warp stabilization. All right. This is another clip I stuck in here because it's got some audio from the original Casio VL tone, circa 1981, if anybody remembers. So this is just a clip with, a rack focus. You can see we start, sharp and in focus right here on the edge. I mean, this is shot probably f2.8. You can see the plus minus here. And then I just rack all the way down to the other buttons until it's totally out of focus. So you can see down here we have rhythm and rumba adjacent to samba, bossa nova, and rocks 1 and 2. So this is just kind of a cool shot showing off some natural bokeh of defocusing the focus ring. All right. All shot with the Nikon D800. So this one, I'm going to be interested to see what you do with it. All right. Now, maybe with this one, you use warp. Maybe you're going to use some time remapping. And that's what we're going to go to next because we've got 8 minutes to do that. All right. So I have provided for you 1, 2, 3 clips for time remapping. Now, you can use this on the clips from yesterday. You can use this on anything. Now, whenever you're adjusting speed, typically you want to shoot at a higher frame rate because the more frames you have, the better and smoother your slow motion in particular will be. If you're trying to slow things down, most of your cameras by default, iPhone, Android, or still cameras will shoot video either at like 30, 2997 frames per second or 24, 2398 frames per second. You can use time remapping and you can slow that stuff down, but you don't have a lot of frames to work with. So sometimes it looks a little stuttery. I'm going to show you a couple different methods, a couple different ways to do it, but I've provided some 240 FPS clips for you that you can use kind of as overlays and things that are kind of fun to work with. And here's how it works. So again, one of the things you're going to want to do from yesterday, when you import these bike clips, bring them into the timeline and expand the track height. All right, you're going to want that because what you're going to do is you're going to right-click on this little effects badge here. You can see this little gray effects badge. Right-click, control-click, and you'll see that it has motion, opacity, and time remapping. And you're going to choose time remapping speed. All right, So go ahead and choose speed on that. And now what that does is it turns this envelope, this line here, into a speed percentage where you can now adjust the overall speed of the clip. So if I just take this line and I drag it down, and you'll see, I don't know if you'll be able to see the tooltip here. Hold on, let me move so you can see it better. Okay, now you can see the tooltip, all right? So it's showing you the percentage. I'm gonna take this 240 frames per second down to 10%, all right? Which is technically playing at now 24 frames per second, as if it were 24 frames. And now you can see that it is just incredibly smooth, incredibly fluid and beautiful. Okay, oh, we're already on to, I have a clip over top of that there, that's why. All right, that's if you wanted to adjust the entire duration or the speed of the whole clip simultaneously. But typically what we want to do is we want to create some kind of a ramp where we start out at one speed and then adjust to another speed. So here's how we're going to do that. So once again, I'm going to play this back. That's, by the way, that's real time right now. All right, and let's just play a few seconds. 1, 2, stop right here. And instead of dragging the line, I'm going to hold down my Command or my Control key on Windows, and I'm going to click on that line. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us this little two-sided keyframe. If I grab the edge of this now, you'll see that I'm now able to create this little handle. So now when I drag down the line, we'll go to say 10%, all right? If I click on these handles, I now have a little handle that I can adjust the ramp into the speed, all right? As even like a Bezier, you can see it doesn't have to be fully linear. It actually has some nice curvature to it. So you see this a lot in commercials, right? It doesn't just necessarily go right into a speed change. Sometimes there's a little ramp into the speed change. So you can adjust that ramp into the speed change. Let's shuttle forward here a little bit, and then let's hit the Command Control key again. All right, I'm going to raise this back up. Let's do, say, 104%. All right, now let's adjust, let's adjust a little ramp right there too. Okay, if we want, like that. I'm gonna zoom back out. All right, so real time, slow. It plays slowly for X number of seconds and then zzz. Okay, speed ramping. Now, if you go into the effects controls, you will see that you can also perform this operation here. You can use the Add Keyframe button. You can adjust those ramping values here just as we did before. All right, if you twirl down speed, this will actually show you the same Bezier handles. So you have a lot of flexibility here, all right? The key is I want to see what you're able to do using some stuff with speed. Now, by the way, I mentioned you've got a couple of different methods that you can use. If you right-click on the clip and go to Speed Duration, the default is frame sampling, okay? This is also going to allow you to reverse things. Frame sampling is pretty good. That's what we're using right now. Plays in real time, real easy. Frame blending, don't recommend that one. Why? Because you can actually start to see in some cases the frames overlapping. This is typically what you see when you're working with 24 frame footage. Kind of looks a little chunky. The other option here, which I'd recommend if you're going to try this on some slower clips, not shot at 240 FPS or 120, is optical flow. Now, if you choose optical flow for your speed method here, your speed time remap method, you're going to want to go up to the sequence menu, and you're probably going to want to render the selection because optical flow, it just needs a little bit more to be able to play back in real time, just so that you can see what you're doing most effectively. All right. And then the last thing that I wanted to show you here was just to give you an idea of something you might do with some of these clips. So as mentioned, I've got a couple of clips here of Alaska and some other stuff. I want to point out that inside of the effects controls, we also have blend modes. So under opacity, on this Alaska clip, I'm going to choose the overlay blend mode. And now if I play this back, what you can see is that we have our time remapped wheel with that Alaska shot behind it. Look at how it's like really making those colors pop. It's just, I mean, they're blend modes. It's something that everybody here understands. You use these in Photoshop, you use these everywhere. you have blend modes in Premiere. So this is how you can get a little bit more creative with the footage from today, because you've got bikes, water, and synthesizers, and vinyl. How all those tie together, I don't know exactly. All right, we are almost out of time, so we're gonna go, and I wanted to show you just really quickly one challenge from yesterday in particular that I loved. This was from Film for Food, and just take a quick look at this of how they approached our safari footage using some very cool sound design elements as well as some additional graphical elements too. Check this one out. This is a submission from yesterday. All right, really, really cool stuff. So much more to do. I want to point out, of course, that if you haven't already gone to the Discord, here's that URL again. Go to the Premiere Pro Discord. This isn't just for the challenge. This is a new place for you to go and meet with some of your peers and talk about the stuff that you love. Get feedback on your work, submit things, ask questions. We're all there waiting for you, but we are out of time. So I'm excited to see what you're going to do today, and I'll be answering your questions on Discord. So we've got more coming up. We've got another challenge coming up just now. So thank you again. Have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.